If this 30 euro cable does not work properly, I will Luigi Mangione, the guitar store. I don't even care anymore. Hello, my name is Tanguy Blanchard, and I'm an addict. I'm a musician. Sorry, habits. Today is the birthday of something shit, so I thought I'd celebrate the birthday of something cool. I wanted to do it on the 22nd of November, on the actual fifth birthday of my second album, Electric Demos. But sometimes you get busy or depressed, and so you don't. But I am. So let's get to it. I took a few notes. I'll go song by song, and then say a few considerations about the overall project. So I guess I can help you figure out where this album happened in time. Um, it was November of 2019 or the end of October, whatever week was my holiday. I don't have the exact dates. I could retrieve them, but I don't care enough. And I made like 3 albums in 1 week. So I had access to my neighbor's studio. Forever grateful for that because of the skills that he taught me since 2016, and working with him and working with Kira and trying to figure shit out myself. By 2019, I could record my own stuff, and he would let me just come in and use the studio. So every day, I'd wake up around noon, and I would go to the studio and work on either electric demos or hybrid music, and and then later, I think on the weekend, we went to Luna Pig Studios with Jeff Luna, who I made Summer with, and some other stuff, and and we made another one with a band, me and Gabby. So I guess I'll start with "I'm a Man." It's the oldest song on the album by a long shot. Why am I nervous? Like, it's so weird to talk about this. I'm doing this because the Red Hot Chili Peppers have done a little, uh, you know, fucking Stadium Arcadium talk, and nobody's interviewing me, so I'm interviewing myself. I don't want to forget because I'm forgetting big time. I'm forgetting everything about this stuff because it was a long time ago, and all the drugs and all the not sleeping uh, just changes you. You think you remember, and you're really surprised when you find out that you don't. You're like, oh, what? Brain changes? That's crazy. So, I'm a Man. It was early 2017. So, I was just 16. And it was a big, like, Stooges inspiration, I guess. Which the Stooges I discovered through probably the Red Hot Chili Peppers covers of Search and Destroy, things like that, and also because my mom got a. This is gonna take forever. My mom got a Iggy Pop CD from the library once, and listened to Passenger and stuff like that. We saw Iggy Pop twice, opened for the Peppers, by the way. Little flex. But yeah, it's a really basic one. There's nothing much to it. It's just a couple driven guitars, and then you get the harmonies that invert at the end. What notes did I? Yeah. You got a riff at the end. It's like a Muse riff. And I put a phaser on the left side, or a flanger. I'm not sure. And I put another modulation on the right side, but I don't know what it was. But I think it was rotary or something like that. And you can hear when I fuck with the pitch at the end. And the different pickups on the guitar, you can hear kind of the effect on its own, and it's really cool. I copy pasted a couple guitars at the end because I wanted a big sound, but I didn't want it to be messy. So I literally I took the take that I already had, and I only shifted it like a couple um, milliseconds or something like that, so it would just like seem like a big guitar. Um, I don't even know if I turned down the volume at all. So to master the track is a difficult task. And same thing with the vocals, and this is a recurring theme on the album. The vocals, the BVs and stuff, they're all none of them are mixed properly to where you understand what's the lead and what's not the lead. But yeah, it's just a song about anger and whatever. I don't really know. I don't know if I wrote something about the lyrics on this one. It's pretty straightforward. I don't have enough to say. So then the way, yeah, the way I'm more interested in. So the way is a song that paints like a special place in time for me, where, and actually, I'm a Man is one of the oldest songs that I released. Period. So I think there's a couple songs that I released that are from 2016, maybe three of the first album, and then all the rest is after that. Like in terms of when I wrote them. So it's funny that it's so fucking old, and I don't know why I considered it for that album. It just like seemed like E was a good thing to open, and this was my first quote unquote studio album. It was really supposed to be just demos, but I was like, yeah, makes sense, I guess. So I guess, yeah, the way I was in this new school, meeting new people, I liked my little stupid place, and the physicality and the time and the emotions, like all of it was okay to me, but I just, still couldn't get out sometimes of Mist, and I wanted to, and I feel like it captures really well that feeling of like, oh shit, I'm stuck and I want to do 100 things at once, but right now my fridge is empty, my place is dirty, and if I want to get anywhere at all, like I have to go and get food, but I feel depressed, and I don't know, I just wrote that at 17, like the kind of pull yourself together moment where you see that it's all going to shit and you have the urge to make something completely from A to Z in a couple of hours, and if you don't take your shot, like it's just never gonna happen. And I know that happened to me so many times, and I tried to start things in my life so many fucking times, and sometimes I just saw windows of opportunity and I took them. And so that's what I did with that song. Like I opened FL Studio and I used a bunch of stock sounds, and I was listening to Bitches Broken Hearts a lot. So that's the bass outro. This kind of the same idea, high notes on the bass, kind of melodic. Great fucking song. I wish I could see that one time live, but I don't think she ever plays that anymore. But yeah, big Billie Eilish phase, and just Far Away by John Frusciante is one of my favorite songs ever, and so it's got this piano kind of, this big dynamic in between the pounding drums and the piano harmonic descents, so I used that. And the word unexplainably, I didn't know if it was a real word because in the years later I saw that everybody said inexplicably, and so I thought that I made it up, but I had already put out a YouTube video of me singing the thing, after I produced it or whatever, in 2018, and so I was sad, but I just found out like today that it actually is a word, I guess. It's just nobody really says that, or it's a difference between English and American English, I don't know. And it was interesting because over the years, like it helped me find my peace with language, just knowing that it didn't matter if I made a word up or not, as long as it meant something to me and as people could understand the global message. And so I made a lot of words up in other songs, and I noticed that other people do that too. Like they mash up words or they straight up invent words. And obviously you have that in movies and stuff, but it's more accepted because it's a meme, like you paint a picture. But in songs, we tend to think of songs as more literal things, but it doesn't have to be. So with that song, I guess, um, it still it still works in terms of meaning. And yeah, just it's with the entire album, it's kind of touching to see that I'm in similar places in a lot of ways. Um, I just wanted to stabilize my brain in order to feel control, and that's still the case. Then Mr. Silence, I really like this song, but the arrangement on Electric Demos does not do it justice. It's one of the only songs that I used wah on, which is funny because wah is very very typical of me, I'd say. Like my guitar hero growing up was Donan Robinson from Don't Eat the Bike. I mean, from other bands before and shit like that, but I was super fucking inspired by his playing, and the only pedal that he had was a wah. And then when he needed distortion, he would just use a amp stompbox to switch channels. And then yeah, so I got a, what is it? It's a Vox. I got a Vox wah, and I used it on the intro with overdrive. All the guitar effects were done. The drives on this album were done with Cubase directly, and I think it was like all the same amp and all the same presets almost. Then you get some Noctura delay, which is a great pedal, which I use on the clean solo and stuff like that. And what else you got on Mr. Silence? Like I messed up the last note of the solo, like the improvised solo that goes in a lot of different directions, not the riffs. Um, I did a really good one. I think it was the first take or something, and I was really happy with it. And then when you're in the zone and shit, and you already see yourself crossing the goalpost and whatever, and so that last B that slides from an A to a B, I fucked it up, and so I had to uh, do another track, not a take, but just a track for that single note. The story of that song is not over, but I can't tell it. It's got to tell itself. Apology is a Eminem ripoff. Was I guess ditto ripoff from Thank You. Thank You is such a good song, and I think that it's a much better song than Stan instrumentally, because it's got that release and it doesn't repeat quite as much. So it's like Stan is sampled. It's typical hip hop. There's some more lo-fi shit, but Thank You is organic, and it's got the percussions and the, I don't know, it's so soothing. And I listened to that song as a toddler a lot. I think my dad did, and I think with Apology, it's difficult. It's a difficult song. It's a really specific song, and I think the problem with that is it's not evocative enough to be like, to resonate with people's experiences. Like it's cringe, but it's not only cringe because I have no flow or because of the lyrics themselves. It's cringe because I was like, it was the actual song for somebody to forgive me. It's literally, I filmed myself in my room after I made that song in 2018, and I don't know, I had like I think I had my remote or something, and I played some jazz over the CD player, and I turned in my chair like this, and I had toilet paper in my hands. Like I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Like it was weird. It was a weird time for me, and it's also weird to see that I was saying shit like I said it was music, but it's love that I need the most, the love and the feeling of being understood. I didn't know anymore that that's how I felt when I was 17, because that's how I feel now, and you know, it feels like knowing that now has been the result of huge strides in the recent months and coming to understand myself and shit. But it's always still that up and down of like, I want this, I want that. And I didn't know that I had such a sense of self at that early age. And trying to understand that album really makes me think of that a lot. Of how weird it is that I was so similar to me. I guess I was me. Um, yeah, so obviously, it's just, it's Stan, but long and shit. It's hard. It was hard for me to respect the story and the music. So that's what I wrote earlier today, listening to the album back, because I hadn't listened it in like a few. But there's long pauses sometimes that I felt like I needed to put them there, because otherwise the musical phrase would not be over. But the song is 7 minutes because of that. Just because I wrote the lyrics kind of with a beat in mind, but not super musically. So yeah, my flow was really shit. I could have done more takes. Just I think I didn't listen back when I was recording at the studio. The solo is very satisfying because it ends the song, but also because it's simple and it repeats up and stuff. And like I think that's one of the best things I was doing in 2019. I had all this technical ability from playing the entire year, and I started just using it to do melodic stuff. And it's a frusciante solo because well, I don't really know why, but it just is. And I like the octave effect on it. I like that it's really shitty. Because it's like you can't really find a shitty octave effect like that with a pedal, but on Cubase you can. Um, so I think it works well. The first octave that I play, the octave effect responds, and then on the second one it's kind of subdued, but I didn't change anything. It just doesn't work well with the frequencies. It's the first time that I did octave on my work, and I'd written on my stuff, and I just said work because it felt right. But it's so weird to do this myself, but whatever, it is work. I grew up with a meme of what effects were, so I was like hearing things, and I wanted to know like what effect is that, and I would like look it up or ask somebody, or maybe once or twice I saw people who had pedals, but I didn't touch one, I didn't try one or whatever. I was only, well, I guess that year that I started seeing jams and whatever, and maybe I saw somebody who had a proper pedal, maybe Clément or whatever, and I just, yeah, it seemed cool to have one. I guess I had a octave effect on my first amp now that I think about it, and I used it a few times, but like that was, I got it in 2010 or something. And then yeah, it's funny because at 15 I could make up a song and like that was completely improvised. And if I listen to it today, I can be really proud of it and be like, wow, not only is that harmonically like relevant and well constructed and it makes sense and it resolves good and I like it, and the melody's there and the lyrics make sense, but they make me feel something. Like it's just not something I say to rhyme well or whatever. It's like I was saying things that made sense. versus this song that I really tried, and maybe that's the problem with it. It's like I tried to do something I couldn't do. I couldn't rap, you know. I was super interested in rap. I wrote a ton of rap, but I didn't rap. So there's a difference. I had been singing for years and playing guitar for years, but I never rapped. Um, so yeah, I spent a year and a half. Uh, I didn't work on it, but like between the moment I started the song and the moment I finished recording it, a year and a half happened, and a lot of thought and effort and whatever, and it's still the song of mine that makes me cringe the most. So yeah, maybe not the worst one, but I just don't like it. Brainstorm. I love Brainstorm. Brainstorm is one of my best songs yet, I think, on Spotify. I like the fact that it leads into Brainstorm with the fucking same lead tone and stuff. I might have the masters of the individual tracks somewhere, but I mastered it on Audacity, and so you are kind of forced to hear the snare of apology at the beginning. I apologize for that. So yeah, you got a short delay sound going on there. Same thing, obscura pedal always. And when I do the second riff with the overdrive, I'm completely out of time, and it's funny because I was in school that year with a guy who said on a couple projects that I did on Pro Tools and shit, like, be careful about your timing, bro. You're out of the metric and stuff. And I don't know. I had like 2 or 3 projects like that on Pro Tools, and I'd like to see them again, but I probably won't. But it was funny. Like, I don't know. I'd like to hear those because it was funny little guitar solos and whatever. Terrible EQ with the BVs again. Like, nothing new about that. Copy pasted a couple things. Probably arpeggios because I really had a really hard time with arpeggios with the pick. I don't know why, but like sometimes when you're in the studio, shit is just different. Like, it's not even that I didn't practice. I don't think I practiced, but that shouldn't matter. Like, I was able to do stuff with a pick, but you get in and you press play, you press record, and then it's just different. You're like, you tense up just a little bit, throws you off, and you can't, and you start sweating. So I don't know. I get one take right, and I just put it all over the song, I guess. There's a section. There's a section that's like Radiohead, where it goes busy with the snares. So Radiohead have this song 15 Step, and I think I first heard the basement sessions in 2017, and then I heard them in 2018 again. I don't know if I had such a notion that it was in 5, but I just like I wanted to keep. I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, but it's just like an inspiration. I kept the the busy snares, and now that I mention it, I don't want to forget about it. A lot of people told me that this sounded like Radiohead the entire project, and I wanted to discard it. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I guess it's just some of my vocals sound a bit like Tom, but I'm so anal about vocals that I can. And I know my own voice. Like, I sound, I know we don't have the same range. I know I can't really sing Radiohead songs, and I have a hard time singing in general. And I've always had, like, this weird relationship with my voice because it gets hurt easily and whatever. And so when people told me that, I was like, no. But on first time, there's a lot of similarities too, because some of the melodies, well, I guess, like, go slowly. What he sings, I kind of sing that on the verses of first time. Yeah, it's interesting because on that section with the busy snares and shit, I cut a piece of the solo from another take. So I think that I was trying to have a different solo or just a second solo going on. It was bad, and so I only kept like uh yeah, a couple of notes, and I thought it worked, so I just kept them there. But it was maybe even an accident, like I was trying to remove the whole thing, and just that was there, and I was like, ah, okay. The key change into another key change into harmonies is fucking awesome. I really like what happens in that funk section, and then the guitar solo gets less busy with the key change and kind of the second bass, whatever, I don't remember. But it's just a good song, isn't it? It's like up until that point, it just everything makes sense. Every choice, every new instrument added, the fact that the first time you hear the Pink Floyd fucking rip-off riff um, with delay, and the second time it's got distortion, and it builds up to this beautiful climax, and then I kill it with the single solo. I don't know what I was thinking. I like the song still, but like it's just too long, and there's too many solos, and there's too much info. There's too many key changes, and it's just bad because then you're left with the sound of the okay drums. Like it's one of the only songs where the demo production really works because it's got an acoustic bass, a fake acoustic bass and fake acoustic drums. But the acoustic drums, I like the sounds of it. But if you only have a guitar that's only going through an interface, not even a preamp or anything, like your tone is really shit, and it's a guitar solo, and it's all you're hearing, and you also hear like the fake bass. It just kills the whole song. So really great potential, but that story probably isn't over either. The harmonies are the last thing that I added to the album once I was done mixing every song and whatever. I was like, lacks something, and so maybe it made it even worse because it added to the climax right before the solo. So maybe that's what I was thinking. I don't know. And one of the guitars at the end was totally shit. The guitars that go 4-5-4-5. One of them was probably playing a major third or something when it shouldn't be, and you can still hear that because I didn't take it out. I didn't want to retrack anything. Same thing. I probably found out like when I was done mixing or something, so I just turned the volume down on that track. I really blew it. So yeah, it's not live. I say at the beginning that it's live, and I talk and whatever, and I kept it in. I don't know why. Like I don't know why. I guess because of this, right? Like I'm just that kind of person to fucking talk about themselves like that. So I in the middle of the album, I was like, "Hello, here's how I'm recording the album." I didn't change much in 5 years. But yeah, I it wasn't live because uh, I stepped on a cable, and that fucked up the MIDI for a few seconds, and so I had a decision to make. I don't remember the process of what I kept and didn't keep. You can hear there's hesitation in the vocals at some point, so that tells me that these are the original vocals, but I don't know if like one note of the vocals had to be redone. I think a couple chords had to be redone. I think I wanted to keep everything just as it was because I was a live freak or whatever, which makes no sense, especially on an album like this. And I explained the process on a bonus track called Tengai Blabbers that I had the good sense to have only on the full album YouTube version of this thing. So check that out if you're actually insane. I actually fucking love this song also. It paints a moment in time that is pretty sweet. I didn't write all of it. Sandra, I can't say too much. So yeah, Sandra wrote a line. That's all I'll say. And it's just like evocative, and that's one of the things that I think is the best about what I do. And it's really hard to see 5 years later because well, I wrote it almost 6 years ago, and I didn't know. I just didn't know that it was good. I made music because something compels me to, and it always has since the day that I've been interested in it. When inspiration comes, uh I hate how I feel if I don't take something and record it, safeguard it. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it just is like that. That song, I guess harmonically you get kind of the way thing going on again, and it's funny because it's sort of a parallel with the way. The way was my in song at that school, and this song was one of my out songs, and it was just talking about what was going on at that time. My friends, my loves. Nothing ever feels true. And I guess, like, lyrically and harmonically and stuff, I can't say anything about it. It's perfect. If I had to do it all over again, or if I was 100 years old, or if I knew everything there's to know about music, I feel like that's the way that I would want this song to be exactly. And the only problem with it is the production and the mixing, the way it sounds, but that I couldn't do better at the time. And I I was trying to, you know, I was trying to make it as good as it could be, and I just, I really had it back then. I really did, and I, I, I could still do things like that, and I wrote a bunch of other better songs since, hundreds, but it's just like there's some derealization that comes from looking at your 18-year-old self like that and being like, holy shit, you're me. Like you get it, and you were going through that, and I see you and I understand. So yeah, it's really emotional for me to look back at that shit. What else do we have? Yeah, Dump Me, the song that I sing at the end, is a whole other song that I was writing, and I think it's like I just used it as a little interlude, and I didn't call it Dump Me or whatever, but it's not really supposed to be part of I Really Blew It, or to be part of Eternity in Motion, not in that interlude sense. I don't really know yet. What am I saying? I'm not saying anything. But yeah, Eternity in Motion. It's called like that because of Tame Impala, of course. I was listening to a lot of Tame Impala. I mean, I listened ever since 2016 when I got Currents, but I was especially inspired by Tame Impala throughout all of 2019. It had an impact on what I was writing, and you don't really hear it on that album, but at least, yeah, it had an impact on the title there. So yeah, I do a thing with the detuned guitars um a lot on this album. Like at the end of songs or whatever, I fuck with the pickups or the tuning or whatever. But yeah, on this song, I'm in E flat standard. The beginning is goofy as fuck. Yeah, I wrote that because like you come from that beautiful song that I just talked about, right? Where it feels right, and it feels like it's really cool to have just the piano voice thing, and I didn't do a whole lot of piano voice, like certainly not live and whatever, and it was kind of hard for me to do that. But it also felt natural. It felt like a connection with the instrument, sort of like what I was doing with guitar voice since 2016, um, and suddenly you got the shit FL Studio stock sounds. You got your Ibanez bass, and you get your little hats and whatever. It's like, okay, what is this? It's funny how, yeah, the virtual amps. I like the way that they react with the guitar. Like on single notes, it's pretty cheap. It's pretty single. That makes no sense. It's pretty what? It's small. It sounds small, but on the bigger chords especially, it really sounds very driven. The solo sounds insane, and the story behind that, I guess, is that song. The solo had to be weird because, um, I guess like just the 4/5 thing is a recurring theme of songs for me. You can check that out in other albums or whatever. And one time I was writing like something in the notepad, like I stupidly do, and my brother asked for my computer to play StarCraft, and then my computer kind of crashed. But it had this thing that was a fucking awesome thing. I don't know why Windows got rid of it, where your computer didn't shut down when it had no battery. It went to advanced sleep mode, which you couldn't really trigger when it crashed, but once it was triggered, you could start the computer again and it would decrash it. And so I had already used that trick a couple times to find lost media. So I put my computer on a shelf. It's not a shelf, but I don't know how you call it, in the living room, and I went to walk in the Alps for a week, leaving the computer there with special instructions to not touch it. And of course, my mom turned it off. It's so funny. I'm actually pissed about that still. But yeah, I lost what I was writing. It was a pretty long thing too. It was not one song or whatever. It was like a lot of poems that were unsaved, or prose or whatever. I don't know, but it didn't matter. It doesn't. But I was pissed. And yeah, the entire time that song was playing, because yeah, it crashed. FL Studio crashed while I was producing that song. So yeah, the idea was kind of to have a Purple Rain rip off, with the solo. You can hear it, and I love the rhythmic interlock between the guitar and bass. The last time that they play together, and then I go back into the big chords, and you can tell I was probably not playing to a click because I was looking at the monitor, I think, to see where the hits would come, and I missed them a couple of times, or I missed them by a little, which is not that big a deal. And then you got First Time. I totally forgot about it, but I tuned it in E flat on this album, and it flows with eternity for that reason. It's definitely the best song on the album, because it's the most packageable. Like Brainstorm is fucking great, but the problem is the solo and stuff, and it's kind of long and whatever. First Time doesn't have that problem, and yeah, everything works. And kind of same thing as I Really Blew It. The core of the song is quite good. I think it's a good song, but the arrangement is okay here too. I guess like it was just the Oasis song that came to me, and I was like, okay, I'll write my name on it. Yeah, only the mix kind of sucks, but that's obvious. I considered it for WoW at the time. It's my band, and um, eventually we didn't really write any changes to it together, so I just kept it for myself. Um, I mean, in terms of writing credits or whatever. So I used it on that album. I like the little scream I do before the solo. It's like I didn't. I kind of had a, I lost my relationship to screaming at that point. So I was like, just I knew I had to do something before the solo. I didn't know what was going to come out, but is okay, I guess. It's kind of fryish. And then yeah, on the solo you got little Aerosmith quotes from Amazing. And to introduce the solo, you got this kind of phrase that's like a Frusciante-esque phrase. I like it. I like it. I like the solo. I like the fact that it's melodic, that it's high, that it's simple, singable, easy to memorize. And also like I had like it was so bad to mix this whole project because I did a lot of automation because I would have guitars coming in and out and stuff, and you know it wasn't the most important thing, the overall volume, but I still wanted uh, the phrases to speak when I wanted them to speak, so I had to shut down the other stuff a little bit, and I wrote volume automations all the time, and I know there's a bunch of automations on this one, and it's actually pretty hard to write them because I was not using the faders or mixing console. I was clicking the automations, I was drawing them, and it's hard to be precise. Um, and At the end, the low pass sound on the guitar is not a EQ. It's just me playing with my some configuration of the down pickups, so the rhythm pickups, which meant that the tone switch or the volume switch, I don't even know, was way below my hand, and I just hit it a bit, and so it changes the tone response of the amps, and it really worked. I didn't notice even, but then later I was listening, I was like, I didn't EQ that, but it was cool. Then yeah, I guess stylistically, the whole album. What can we say about it? It's a fucking guitar album. It's crazy. I didn't know that. Like until right now, listening to it again, I had no idea there was such a guitar album. There's many guitar moments, and there's the most guitar solos than I have on any albums. Considering, I guess. I mean, hybrid music. There's also a lot of solos, so I guess that week was a busy solo week. But this is only about 30 minutes long, and there's like 10 solos on it almost. I counted everything. But yeah, there's a lot of guitar moments where it's like an actual solo going on, and it's pretty high and melodic and whatever, and then you get little phrases and notes to support it, and they're short and they're often lower, and I love that. And I'm not sure where I took that from, but the idea in general of having like just literally like 2 seconds of a track just for one guitar phrase, and you don't hear that guitar tone ever again the whole song. That's definitely a Frusciante thing, and I don't know. He does that. I don't have an example, but he does that all over the place. If he has an idea and he's like, okay, that I want to see that there, he just doesn't. He doesn't care if he can't do it live, if whatever, And on his solo albums, it's all over the place. And yeah, it's very Frusciante inspired, the whole thing. The solos are melodic, busy, roaring, a lot constructed. Yeah, they're very constructed around the root of the pentatonic scale too, so that's why they're memorable, I guess. And yeah, the solos are often driven too, very fucking driven. Like I just turned up the gain way high, um, on the virtual amps, and it's not such a great sound, all things considered, but I like it. I really do like it. So yeah, there's one driven solo and I'm a Man, two clean solos, one clean riff and Mr. Silence, driven solo Apology, delay riff and driven riff and Brainstorm, as well as a solo driven funk, a a funky driven solo, then a slower one, and one clean solo. Eternity is basically one huge solo, first time solo. So there's like 8 or 9 solos depending on how you count them, and 3 lead riffs. So that's a lot in 30 minutes. Then in terms of vocals, I guess like it's pretty low, and I don't use my falsetto on anything, I think. Now that I think about it. And I just put stock de-esser and compression on everything. Obnoxious reverb at the beginning of Eternity in Motion, just the reverence that I always saw my neighbor use, but I couldn't get the settings to be right. Like, it's always a plugin. I've used it on a bunch of stuff, and it always sounds shit when I do the the settings myself. I just never really got it. And the same goes with compression and de-esser, because I didn't understand what those things did or what they even were. Like, I just knew you were kind of supposed to do that, but I wasn't listening to how it sounded really, and I wasn't listening to, okay, is it doing its job enough? And I kind of killed a lot of high end on my voice with the de-esser. Now I know that because I know where my voice S is, and I know how to treat it. But actually a de-esser, if you do it stock, like, it takes a lot of width, and it's just not useful either if you don't understand how volume response works, because I was mixing very quiet. I don't know if the compression really did anything. Same with the de-esser. Then you got the artwork. I played a show with like almost all of these songs. I think it was all the same songs from this album, and that's what I wanted kind of the album to be in the first place, and I kind of totally forgot about this, but I played them in the same order and everything, and I already had the demos. Oh no. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, I played I'm a Man twice. I played The Way, Mr. Silence, Apology, Brainstorm, and then I played What's Wrong With Me with Highway to Hell. Then I blew it, Reality in Motion, first time, and then Annoyed. I had no idea. Oh my god, that's so cool. I want to check that out. But yeah, I had a really cool setup with my guitar and my synth and my pedals and stuff, and I wanted to snap a picture of that, and maybe I did, but with another person's phone or something, because I just never found it. I wanted to use it for the artwork, because that was the spirit, that was the same songs and everything. But yeah, I didn't find it, so I used this picture of Gabby that I think I took over the summer in the attic, and where so much happened, and it's very symbolic. It's got our guitars, so it tells our stories, and there's Kurt on the seat, and just my headphones. Yeah, I really fucking love this picture, and Gabby wanted to use that for summer. He actually even made like an album cover with the title and everything, but I switched it around and used something else for summer. And yeah, I think that's about it. So in terms of lyrics, I guess I forgot. Do I want to say something else? Yeah, I really like First Time. I think it's pretty straightforward, and same thing, evocative, and that's where I really shine. That's where, like, okay, we don't know what this is about, but shit, I can think about her, or I can think about him. I can think about summer 2014. I can think about my Legos or whatever, because you don't know what it's about. It's like, that's kind of sad. You read what's on my mind. You came out so surprised. What does that even mean? I don't know what it means. Or I can't say. And I love stuff like that. I had been obsessed over the past years. So it's really good to do this now with like never telling anybody anything about what my songs are about. And I just I don't understand the point of that. Like why, if somebody asks me questions about apology, am I really supposed to go and say, oh, yeah, it's just something. It's not about me. I didn't live through that. I didn't write that about me. It's just my something I saw on TV. Like what the fuck are you talking about? And I just, yeah, this album is a really cool like snapshot in time, and it doesn't seem like that. And maybe I did it on purpose. Maybe I was kind of careful to incorporate "I'm a Man" and "apology" in there, but it's all about the same thing. So that's why it also really works as a concept. Thank you. Big up to Smoke